Have you ever pulled a carrot from the ground that looked like a funny little octopus? Or a beet that turned out tough and woody when you tried to eat it? Maybe your radishes grew bitter and hollow inside. If any of this sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dive into how to properly water what grows underground. I'll share 4 simple rules for watering root vegetables that will help you grow a truly large, juicy, and sweet harvest. And trust me, it's not just about the quantity of water. The real secret lies in subtle details that will transform your gardening approach forever. It seems simple enough, right? Just pour water and everything will grow. But with carrots, beets, or potatoes, it's a bit different. The main challenge is that we don't see the results of our efforts until harvest time. We can't just peek underground and ask a carrot, "Hey, how are you doing down there? Got enough water?" Yet, it's precisely the right watering that determines if your beets will be woody or your potatoes cracked and hollow inside. Watering impacts everything: size, shape, and most importantly, taste. The wrong approach can truly undermine all your hard work. So let's dive into the very first and perhaps most crucial rule. It goes like this: the depth of watering is far more important than its frequency. Admittedly, there's a strong temptation to water your garden beds a little bit, but every single day. It might seem like you're constantly nurturing your plants this way, but in reality, for crops like carrots, beets, and radishes, this is actually doing more harm than good. Imagine what's happening beneath the soil. When you water frequently but sparingly, you're only moistening the top 5 to 10 centimetres, about 2 to 4 inches, of soil. The root vegetable senses this and draws a logical conclusion. Aha! All the water is right here, on the surface. Why bother struggling to grow deeper where it's dry? As a result, its main taproot, the one we're hoping to enjoy for dinner, stops elongating. Instead, it starts frantically searching for moisture horizontally, sending out a multitude of side roots. And that's why you end up with those horned, gnarled and stunted carrots. The correct approach is quite the opposite. You should water infrequently, for instance, once every 7 to 10 days, but very deeply, ensuring the water penetrates to a depth of 20, or even better, 30 centimetres, about 8 and 12 inches. That's precisely where the growth zone is located. To check if you've watered enough, just dig into the soil next to the bed an hour or 2 later. If the soil is moist to the depth of a spade blade, you've done everything perfectly. This kind of watering encourages the root to stretch downwards in pursuit of moisture, forming a large, straight and beautiful vegetable. Alright, so we've covered depth. But even if you water deeply, there's another enemy to a bountiful harvest, and that's inconsistency. This leads us to rule number 2. Consistency and regularity. Root vegetables, much like small children, absolutely thrive on routine. They simply cannot tolerate sudden shifts from drought to deluge. Imagine this scenario. You haven't watered your garden bed for a long time. The soil dries out and becomes hard. The root vegetable inside effectively freezes, its growth slows, and its skin toughens. It literally enters a survival mode. Then, feeling guilty, you pour several buckets of water onto it all at once. What happens? The plant is shocked by this sudden bounty and starts greedily absorbing moisture, trying to make up for lost time. The flesh begins to grow too quickly, but its tough skin simply can't keep up. The result? Cracks. Beets, carrots and potatoes literally burst from within. This is why the myth that it's better to water heavily once than lightly multiple times only holds true when coupled with regularity. Your task is to maintain consistently moderate moisture in the soil at the right depth. Don't let it dry out to a rock-hard state. Remember, a cracked vegetable isn't just unsightly. Through these cracks, it loses its juiciness and becomes vulnerable to diseases and pests. Stability, that's your key to an intact and healthy harvest. But now, for the really interesting part. Rule number 3 might genuinely surprise you. It's this: know when to stop. Yes, you heard that right. To ensure your root vegetables are as sweet as possible and store beautifully, you don't just reduce watering, You must cease it entirely for a time. Approximately 2 to 3 weeks before your anticipated harvest date, completely stop watering your carrots and beets. Why is this so critical? As long as the plant gets plenty of water, it channels all its energy into growth, actively accumulating water within the root itself. The result can be large carrots, but they'll taste bland and watery. However, when you introduce a slight water deficit, the plant receives an alarm signal. It realizes that its growing season is coming to an end, and it's time to prepare for winter, or specifically for storage. This triggers a completely different biochemical process. Instead of just accumulating water, the root crop actively starts to concentrate dry matter within itself. These are the sugars, vitamins, and all the essential compounds responsible for that rich, intense flavour. You're literally compelling the vegetable to become sweeter. This is an agronomic secret that can turn an ordinary harvest into a true delicacy. And finally, the often underestimated final touch. Rule number 4. The time and method of watering make all the difference. Even if you provide the correct amount of water consistently, you can still ruin everything by watering at the wrong time or in the wrong way. Let's start with timing. The absolute worst thing you can do is water your garden beds at midday, under the scorching sun. Firstly, most of the water will simply evaporate before it even reaches the roots. You'll just be wasting water and time. Secondly, water droplets on leaves act like tiny lenses which can cause sun scorch. The ideal time to water is early morning while it's still cool, or in the evening as the sun begins to set. This allows the water to deeply penetrate the soil instead of evaporating from the surface. Now, about the method. Try to pour water not onto the leaves from above, but gently at the base of the plants, right around the roots. Overhead watering, especially with a spray nozzle, increases humidity around plants. This is a direct path to developing fungal diseases such as powdery mildew. The ideal option is drip irrigation, but even a regular watering can without a spray nozzle, directed between the rows, will work perfectly. Remember, we're not watering the leaves, we're watering the roots. Your goal is to deliver water precisely where it's needed most, deep underground. Now let's connect the dots. What's the main secret to successfully watering root crops? What's that game-changer moment? The biggest mistake most gardeners make isn't a lack of water, but inconsistent watering. Cracked carrots or beets aren't just a defect. It's the plant screaming for help after a prolonged drought, which you then answered with a deluge. And stopping watering before harvest isn't torturing the plant. It's a clever horticultural trick. It forces the vegetable to go into preservation mode and lock in all its accumulated flavour and sweetness. You're literally making it tastier. So remember these 4 simple rules. Deep, but infrequent watering. Consistency without drought or waterlogging. Timely drying out for sweetness. And proper watering directly at the base at the right time. Follow these and you're guaranteed a harvest you'll be proud of. Thanks for watching this video to the end. If you found it helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new secrets for abundant harvests. Now, a question for you. Which root crop in your garden is the most finicky when it comes to watering? Carrots, beets, or maybe potatoes? Share your experience in the comments.